And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Friday, May 16th. I am Josh Engleman, and I'm here to break down Knicks-Celtics Game 6. We've been waiting for it. This one should be fun. I'm excited to watch the game tonight. We'll see where it ends up. Hit that like button if you're here. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Go Thunder. Or not. Thought they were going to get that one last night. Man, this Denver team is so damn good. It's really a shame they don't have more bodies. For real. Nikola Jokic, so damn good. Jamal Murray, what virus did he have? The feel great and play awesome virus? Sick. Come on. Come on. Do me a favor, Jamal. Send a message to Kristaps Porzingis with whatever vitamins or whatever you were taking. Holy hell. Look, Denver's legit, man. And it's not surprising. Because Nikola Jokic makes all things awesome. They're so good. They're so good. And now we waited out for Game 7 on Sunday, which should be awesome, I hope. I need my boy Jalen Williams to make a damn shot. That certainly didn't help. Shout out Christian Brown. Not the guy that I was expecting to just go bananas yesterday. Yeah, I'm starting to think that Jamal Murray was just like sick and tired of the doubt or something. It wasn't like a real disease. There's one thing I want to look at, though. Do we have the matchup data? We do. So, Christian Brown. SGA, interesting. Okay. I'd read a little bit that Chet was there more. Christian Brown yesterday. Got it. Got it. Wait. Is that the right game? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did he really only have 18? I felt like he had 100. Jalen Williams might be one more stinker away from a one-way trip to Milwaukee. Honestly, it's so funny because it's so weird to think that, like, we could look back at today, like the feeling of Oklahoma City after Game 6. We could look back at today and like all of it's dumb. Because then it's just like, we might be looking at it and we're thinking like, oh, Jalen Williams, part of the 25 NBA champions who just beat the Wolves in 5 and the Pacers in 5 or whatever it ends up being. I'm not trying to be specific here. The inner series narratives are crazy. From Game 1 to Game 2, and I don't mean this series, just like in general. From 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, we're all in on somebody, we're all out. Then they're back, and then they're out again. And then all of a sudden they're back, and we think that team sucks, but then they lose the next 2, they win that series, and then we do it all again in the next round. Our memories are so short. We've turned into goldfish. But now we've got a Game 7. Denver OKC, I think I saw the line was 7.5. That's down 2.5 points from Game 5. You've got a situation where, Nikola Jokic probably going to play 47 minutes in that one. OKC rotation will be interesting to see as we get there. And then we get today. We finally get what we're looking for here. Knicks-Celtics Game 6. What an environment we are going to get today, man. Game 6 against your biggest rivals. At home, looking to take them out after they've already lost their best player. We have no idea what's going on with Kristaps Porzingis right now. I mean, I guess we do until we don't, but it's going to be a great game tonight. Jalen Williams has been interesting. The offense has been tough. I do, and S&P, this is not to you, but just in general, we're going to talk a lot of shit on Jalen Williams if this goes wrong. We got to remember that he's still also out there as a exceptional, like 1 through 5 defender. And we're gonna kind of just going to forget that exists. Offensively, though, it hasn't been great. It really hasn't. Negative 4.8 game EPM yesterday. 6.7 boards, 10 assists, 4 stocks. 1 of 5 at the rim, 2 of 7 from mid-range, 0 of 4 from 3. It doesn't get much worse than that, man. But he's 24. We'll see. Look, he's really, really good. We'll see what that becomes in future playoffs. Maybe we're finding out that he's a half step ahead of where he's supposed to be, which part of the reason I kind of wanted some more offense for OKC earlier. But if we find out that his best role is just slightly less of that offensively with all that defense, we're still talking about a really, really amazing NBA player. But maybe the offense isn't what we're wanting it to be. S&P, one thing that I think is very relevant in that discussion, because you said 20 career playoff games for J-Dub, 53% true shooting. I have to imagine that one of the biggest differences here is that in these situations, he's probably taking the most difficult defensive matchup. I know Matt Butler's been talking a lot about Jalen Williams' performance with Aaron Gordon on the floor versus Aaron Gordon off the floor. I think that might be what we're looking at a little bit here. That when these lights get a little bit brighter, when you're playing more and more of your Aaron Gordons or whatever on the opposite side, and Jalen Williams, it gets a little bit more focus, it's not there for him yet. And I don't think that's crazy to think. I mean, this year we saw him take a 4% increase in usage, coupled with a 5% reduction in true shooting. What will be interesting to see next year is if that 27 holds, but that 57 gets back to like 60 or 61. Because then that becomes a real thing. But until we see it in the playoffs, people are never going to give a shit. But it's possible that in 4 weeks, everything we're saying right now just goes away. If they win on Sunday, they are overwhelming favorites to continue that out and win the NBA title. And then all this stuff that we're saying just disappears. No one says it ever again. It's so crazy. All of the narratives of the NBA will be shaped in the next 4 weeks. But honestly, like, where we are today is the same as where we are in 4 weeks. What's the bigger fail? OKC losing to Denver or Boston losing to New York? Probably OKC. It's Boston losing to New York because they're the defending champs, and obviously, like, that's crazier because OKC doesn't have like the same anchor point as Boston. Not to mention, the New York Knicks don't have Nikola Jokic, which is a pretty big swing piece. S&P, right? Like, his best scenario is going to be like your second best creator, but because of Shea, you're probably getting the best wing defender on Jalen Williams no matter what. Usually. But look, 24 years old. Do we want to walk back through all of the like really good 24-year-olds and see how they looked? More often than not, it's not awesome. But I want to give Jalen Williams his flowers, at least defensively, because he's going to take an absolute beating from the offensive side. Largely deserved. But defensively, that dude is real. So I'm just going to start right now. Simple question for everybody that's in chat. And if you're here and you're going to answer this question, the least you could do is hit the like button. Who wins today? Who wins today? Knicks Boston, game 6. This is just where I want to start. Who wins today's game? Infinite says Knicks. Danny says Knicks. Dick Togo says Celtics and is excited about it. Michael Nelson, Boston. Coach Chris, Celtics. CM311, Knicks. Stephen Leibowitz is too emotionally invested to answer. Look at the balance, though. For every Knicks answer, there's an immediate Celtics answer, and vice versa. That makes me feel like we're going to get a good one tonight. It does. Can we get another Luke Cornett game? It'd be nice. What the hell do we do with Kristaps Porzingis? Don't know. But I think we all can agree, unless you're a Knicks fan, I think we can all agree we want the Celtics to win today, right? Like, ignore financial interest, ignore specific fandom. Generally speaking, I think we all want game 7, right? Yeah, you got it. Neutral observer, game 7 for the win. So for right now, we've got our projections up. DraftKings Showdown, FanDuel, single game, or whatever the hell they call it. KP 5K in Showdown. Thank God, is all I can say. Him being 5K in Showdown makes me happy. I got kind of nervous that he was going to end up being like 4,100. Because, like, if he can play a half, he would get kind of squirrely as the price comes down. 5K, probably not going to turn into, like, a super big conversational point. Like, that's a light enough price tag that I think we'll be all right with it. John C., yes, it is. How's that? New World Order. Coach said the dude couldn't breathe. It's from Homage. But I love it. It's so comfortable. I've had it for a bit. It's been washed like a billion times. I just love it. Who do I think wins tonight? Probably not the right guy to ask. I probably picked every single game in this series wrong. I mean, I'll say the same thing that I said before game 5. Even without Jason Tatum, Boston's the better team. I know people want to lose their minds over that, but it is unequivocally a true statement. Because we see it in the betting markets. With no KP, I think it's pretty dicey. I do think that I lean Celtics. But I don't have a single bit of confidence anymore. John C., I don't think we will. I just don't think that that's going to be in the DNA. I think the rest of the team just loses their minds if that's happening. I think the only thing that the real good part about Tatum being gone for them is that it just slots everybody in to focus on, they'll take it from anywhere right now. And I think they all sort of get that. And I think it would surprise me if Jaylen Brown just was forcing up shit. The team that wins the series is the better team, and that's all that matters anyway. I mean, that's 100% not true, but it is all that matters. I 100% agree with that. The team that wins the series is not the better team, but it does not matter. I say that to inform why I make my choices. Because a lot of people want to say that, oh, the series is 3-2, 3 is greater than 2, therefore Knicks are better than the Celtics. It's not how life works. But yes, you don't hang banners for being the better team and then going home. Yeah, that's the interesting part, Steven, and I kind of agree there. Celtics don't have the same margin of error, but they feel like it's house money now. I really do think that that's what it is. What pressure do they have on them? They can go balls to the wall and nobody's going to be like, well, that sucked. It's like, no, I mean, Jason Tatum's gone. The expectations are different. But as weird as it sounds, like, if the Celtics win these next 2 games, they're like probably expected to go to the finals and beat Indy. Which is like, how do we talk about that? Let's say the Celtics win today and win again on Monday. What in the world is the discourse like Tuesday morning? Because people are going to, I mean, it's going to be insane. The conversation will be nuts. Somehow ESPN will lead it off with like how that impacts the Lakers. But we are potentially going to see like really wild NBA discourse. Yeah, John, that one seems like a bridge too far. I don't see any path that they could win the title with no Tatum unless Kristaps Porzingis gets like baby embryo injections or something. Yeah, Dick Togo, exactly. What does this mean for LeBron's legacy? Exactly. So right now on the DraftKings side, Jaylen Brown is your most owned captain. And he's coming in at 25%. I think that makes a ton of sense. He's $400 cheaper than Jalen Brunson. That's just a really appealing price tag for Jaylen Brown. Similarly, it's not that I wouldn't want to go to Brunson, but that extra $400 is enough to like change up the way these guys get rostered a little bit. After that, you've got Towns and Josh Hart just outside the 10% mark. And then you get the big man, the real big man, the Unicornet, 4,400, currently projected for 50% ownership, 11.5% at the captain. I'll say this much. It would really surprise me if Boston wins today and Luke Cornett doesn't like pay off his DFS price. Like if Luke Cornett plays 26 minutes today, you have to assume that the game is like kind of close and Boston has a chance. Because if there's Luke Cornett foul trouble or something, they're sort of out of bodies. It would take Al Horford trimming 10 years off his body and them just going full blast White, Holiday, Brown, Horford, Pritchard, and like just hoping they score everything in the world. How many dumb fouls by Cat? I mean, that's another one. Like, so much of this will be dictated by fouls called in like the first half. Like, if you tell me that Towns picks up 2 early, I'm like, shit. Celtics are going to be in this. If Towns isn't in foul trouble, that's not going to be great. So I assume they go at him over and over again. I assume just do whatever you can to make them all irritated and act all Karl Townsy. I don't think there's too much to say about Brown, Brunson, Towns, White, Hart, Anunoby, Bridges. I think where our bread gets buttered today is your Drew Holidays. Whoa. Peyton Pritchard is $200 more expensive than Drew Holiday on DraftKings today? That's an interesting dynamic. Huh. But like, you've got that Drew at $7K, Peyton Pritchard at $7,200 thing. You've got Luke Cornett sitting at $4,400. You've got Mitchell Robbins sitting at $4,800. That's an interesting dynamic. Obviously, positions don't matter for this, but two centers just sitting there back and forth. Luke Cornett 50% owned. Mitchell Robinson 30. Luke Cornett 11% owned at the captain. Mitchell Robinson 2.5. That price combination between Holiday and Pritchard is kind of nuts. I have to. I prefer Peyton Pritchard there. I kind of have to. Sorry, I got to move my mic a little bit. There we go. It's hard for me to not prioritize Drew Holiday there because I think when push comes to shove, he's just out there more. But, when you're down Porzingis, I think it leads me to my next question, which is, do you guys have any interest in Sam Hauser today? Sam Hauser is 3,200 and 3% owned. Don't know how we're going to do that one. 3,200 is a wildly too high price for Sam Hauser. Why is he priced like that? Did they accidentally give Sam Hauser his captain price at utility? He's like close to unplayable. So I'm sure he's going to hit 5 threes. Like, Cam Payne is getting 11% owned at the flat 1K. This is a very different showdown than yesterday. Because yesterday we had like this sea of cheapos on OKC. We don't have that here. I mean, in terms of guys that you expect to play, Cam Payne's the only one that has a cheap salary. Now, I don't think it's crazy if Torrey Craig sees the floor today or Kada, but that's all very dependent on like foul trouble and stuff. But I mean, it also helps that you don't have to pay up for your Jokic's or your Sheas, but we don't really have pay down options today. So I'm going to run a contest, favor my lineups, and let's get an idea of where we're at to start the morning. So hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Schedule for the rest of the day, very simple. Laffy will be up next on the MLB strategy show. That'll be at 11 a.m. Greg and Bellman will be on MLB Live before lock at 6. And then I will be on NBA Live before lock at 7:30 with Eric. We'll see. Like, obviously, playback will be on. We'll see where the night takes me. If it's close game, maybe I'll pop on, but no official playback stream tonight. You'll get me for game 7s if they exist. I'm just putting that out there now. All right, so let's run this first contest. We'll see what the DraftKings side looks like. Hauser might be the last man in piece that makes a difference. Man, you got to spend so much salary to get that one done. I mean, my guess is this is game 6. Boston's got their season on the line. Nobody from the bench is coming in. That'll just take like wholesale foul trouble. I'd be very surprised to see Kada or Craig unless things are going very wrong. All right, sim is just about done. While that finishes up, I'm going to charge my watch. Well, highest sim ROI on there at the 10% mark is 92, so at least we know what we're shooting for later. Look at the dupes at the top. Yay. All right, highest projected lineup is 225. Highest ownership is 225. Let's set some filters. And let's see what we're looking at. All right. We got fantasy points filtered. We've got ownership filtered. No, that's not it. And I'm just going to get rid of any major duplication. Well, that certainly got rid of all the major duplication. All right, top 150. Where do we stand? Well, that's pretty balanced. All right, at the captain. If I take my top 150, nothing crazy in terms of stands. It's holding me pretty well on the line. Jaylen Brown, 3% more than the pool. I guess the stand is Josh Hart, which is a little interesting because he doesn't exactly have the best sim ROI. Luke Cornett, oddly enough, does have the highest sim ROI at captain. Came in a little under, which is weird. It's not like I'm getting away from anything. Brunson's in 11. Towns is in 12. That's pretty much exactly what I would expect. And then on the flex side, look, I mean, I don't even have any real big deviations here. Yeah, I'm 8% under on Luke Cornett. Still in 39% of my lineups. Yeah, I'm 8% over on Peyton Pritchard. Still, he's 30% owned. I guess the most interesting one would be like 17% of campaign at 11% ownership, but what I'm seeing as I look at these exposures is that for the most part, like where our projections are right now, I think it's all like super efficient. I don't really see anything at the flex or the captain where I'm like, that's probably an angle I want to take. Which, if you use our stuff, I think that's a really fun way to go into a slate. Because not even just because of the playoffs, because this is kind of true no matter what, but I think even more so specifically in this slate, I think this is really set up for everybody to play exactly what you want. For how flat that is after I said all my stuff, like, let's just think about it. Let's just do an exercise of if you wanted to really take advantage of what the sims are, I think this is how you would do it. So let me just open this up a little bit so I can get like a couple extra lineups to filter. But today, and this is how I would use the sims in a situation like this if you really wanted to just get your fingerprints all over your stuff. Think about the game script and think about the trickle-down effect of the primary thing you have and what it does coming down the line. And then maybe like the secondary thought process and what that affects. So let's do this. My first thought, since we have, and this is not my take, this is just an example. My first thought is, let's say we don't get the same Luke Cornett game and he is in foul trouble, not having it, whatever. The first thing that I would likely do is just come into the boosts. And then I'm just going to give, maybe negative. We'll go little to start. I'll go -5 to Cornett at the flex, -5 to Cornett at the captain. Maybe I would go 10 on the flex. We'll see what the impact ends up being. So less Cornett. But if I have less Cornett, I want to help it get to what happens if that happens. So if there's less Cornett, I'm going to give Al Horford a slight bump. And I'm going to give Peyton Pritchard a slight bump. Nothing crazy. One notch to everything. But now, if I take the lineups that I had, take my top 150 and look at my exposures, we can see Al Horford came up a little bit from where we were. Luke Cornett now, the biggest negative leverage guy that I have at the flex, -13%. Peyton Pritchard now, +9 at the flex, well over the field, at the captain spot. Luke Cornett, just neutral still, ended up getting a little bit more of Al Horford. But those are the incremental ways that you can use the Sims. If you want to put your own personal stamp on these showdown slates, you can do that without really going crazy manipulating the data. And it's all set up there where you make that first decision and then it all comes from there. Like similarly, I'm not going to do this and I know nobody's going to want to hear it, but like if you think today becomes that Porzingis day where apparently he can breathe in a second half, then maybe you're going -5 or 10% to Luke Cornett, 5 to 10% bump to Kristaps Porzingis. Maybe that's a 5% reduction of Peyton Pritchard at that point. But this is how you can use the Sims and combine the best of both worlds. Because a lot of people want to do the I know ball, I don't need this shit. A lot of people are going to do the I don't need to know ball, I've got the Sims. I think the best way to handle these showdown slates is merging those two thought processes together. Like, you don't want to fly in here and be like, I'm going to give a -75% boost to Derek White. I don't think he plays well. Probably overreacting. Because we need to remember, whatever we think of the projections, they're as right as they're going to be heading into lock. So 5 and 10% tweaks will show big changes for you personally, but it's not like you're taking some guy from 24 fantasy points to 12. That's something unpredictable. But wiggling those guys around a little bit based on how you think that series is going to go, all that's going to let you do is still get the best lineups you want just with the exposures you're looking for. Back in the day when we would do this, if you were doing this in an optimizer, you'd be boosting those guys in that same way. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to give so-and-so a thumbs up. I gave this guy 2 thumbs down. All that's doing is changing raw projections. No context whatsoever to how that lineup performs against the rest of them. These changes now allow you to move that around, but it's not like you're going to take some lineup that's dog shit and all of a sudden it becomes amazing. The dog shit will stay dog shit. You'll just bump up the very similar lineups of the things you like and prioritize them a little bit more. So I think today is very uniquely set up for you to just really deep dive this entire slate. I'm going to run FanDuel for everybody just so we can see it. So let's go ahead and refresh this page. Let's see if we have any bets out there too. Don't forget, oddshopper.com, portfolio EV tool, 7-day free trial. Always, if you've never signed up, link in the description. Or if you want to sign up through one of our affiliates, a sportsbook or a pick'em site, you can get it for a month and you'll get something from those guys. We do have a couple bets out there right now. 3 of them are Denver and OKC. 1 is Jalen Brunson, under 2.5 threes, plus 130 on DraftKings. 4.2% EV. That's a really good bet. No one's going to want to make it, but that's a really good bet. All right, let's run this FanDuel contest and see how much different it looks like. Let's try generating the contest first instead of not doing that. Yeah, I don't really mess with those 2-day slates. What is this? Why do I have a little blue dot there? Brandon Harris, welcome to Team Stokastic. That's why I have that little message there. Only 2 guys over 50% owned at the flex. That is Jaylen Brown and Jalen Brunson. Stop me if you're surprised. Obviously, no basketball tomorrow. We've got Game 7 on Sunday of Nuggets Thunder. Obviously, we'll be covering that one. And then, potentially no basketball on Monday. Depends on how this one shakes out. Celtics win. We get Game 7 Monday. Celtics lose. We don't have any basketball. You'll probably find me talking baseball. Alrighty. FanDuel. Let's see it. So at the captain or MVP or whatever the hell they call it, very balanced. You've got Jaylen Brown and Jalen Brunson, both in that like 20 to 25% MVP range. You've got Towns, White, and Hart all around 10. Luke Cornett is 3,900 there. A little bit lighter. That's an interesting price tag. I'm guessing you just don't have enough salary to care if he's in the captain spot. And then in the flex, 2,600 for Cornett. 45% projected ownership in 32% of my lineups. So, I mean, right away, when I see something like that with no filters set up, it does make me think that I would probably want to go in and like manually bump the non-Cornett people. If it's going to show up like that, your Pritchards, your... do I not have any Sam Hauser? What the hell is Sam Hauser's price on FanDuel? 2K. Wow. Huh. Didn't get a single share of Sam Hauser. That's interesting. But that is really flat. Again, outside of that Cornett ownership. And I'm really interested. Remember this more than anything. As this day goes on, we will likely see the betting market on some of these guys move a little bit. Like if somehow information starts trickling out about Kristaps Porzingis or like starting lineup changes. So like Luke Cornett could look very different by 7 o'clock. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. Yeah, almost made in chat said KP is more of a decision on FanDuel too. Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis 3,200 at the flex on FanDuel. That's a very different play. That's a very different play. Clearly, no one likes it. I think that's pretty clear. But we got to get away from the fact that like we think we know things there, because 32, like we're just so naturally anchored to Kristaps Porzingis not being priced like that it really does make things weird. Because I know it's been awful. Like, what if like the first 3 shots just go in? It's suddenly not awful at all. If Julian Strawther can do it, I have to assume that Kristaps Porzingis can do it with whatever terminal illness he's acquired over the past couple weeks. We've reached the point of this show where I want to do exactly my favorite thing, which is build lineups here. We're waiting on a Celtics starting lineup, which I assume is Cornette. That's the assumption we have right now. Does it have to be? No. If it is, by the way, he could play way more than we think. He could also play way less. Let's build that lineup on DraftKings first. Now, the captain spot. You've got Jaylen Brown and wow, man, that sucks. You've got Jaylen Brown and Jalen Brunson, both basically the same ownership, similar values, similar projections. I think that the guy I'm going to use right now is Derek White, which I'm sure people will be like, why? But let's just trust me for a second. So if I'm going to go Derek White, it means that I'm going to take 2 of the 3 of Brown, Brunson, and Towns. Towns is one of them. Brown is one of them. I'm going to take Anunoby, and then if I let the sim finish it, it gives me McBride and Cornette. $100 left on the table. Let's see how we do. 3-3 is not usually what I want. Yeah, I don't like it. Scrap Cornette, scrap Anunoby, scrap McBride. Gimme Bridges. Then it's Cornette and Payne with 1,300 on the table. This might be like -60. I don't think this is going to be any good at all. Oh, worse. -75. The Derek White path is a tricky one. Josh Hart, Sam Hauser, Miles McBride, 900 on the table. This is going to be -52. -68. All right, well, I need to build a good one, so we'll abandon our Derek White experiment. We'll go to Jaylen Brown. I will again take Towns, White, Hart, Cornette, and Payne. 800 remaining. Just give me something positive so I can go to FanDuel, please. -23. What's the opt? Cornette, White, Brunson, Brown, Towns, McBride. All salaries spent. 20%. There it is. Nothing specific almost made. Just one of those situations where I really like running 5 1s and 4 2s. I don't have, like, nothing's backing that up. Just optics for myself personally. Okay, FanDuel MVP. That one's got to be Brunson, I think. Ooh, yeah, that one. Yeah. Towns. We'll do Towns. Now I'll go Brunson. We'll leave Jaylen Brown. We'll get Derek White. Mitchell Robinson? How does that finish? Pritchard Hart? Come on, just give me something positive. Give me something positive. I'll take 0.1 in the green. Because I think this is really hard today. -8. Ugh. Robinson gone. Pritchard gone. Hart gone. Instead of Robinson, give me Zinger with Hart and Horford. Give me the dub here, guys. 0.1 in the green. Give me 0.1 in the green. That's all we need. That's all we need. Do it. Do it. -22. Worse. Horford gone. KP gone. Hart gone. I'm going back to KP. I'm going to pull Derek White and go Jaylen Brown. This is the one. Green. Steven, that's just, I think this slate is so hard to do this right now. I think it's just so efficient. There is no czar today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have it. It's too tough. Mr. Bubbles, Porzingis ain't it. I don't know if anything's it. I really don't. This is tough. We got a very difficult game 6 coming up later tonight. We've got bets that you can grab all day if you want to. That Brunson threes bet still out there. Peyton Pritchard under 2.5 assists at NoVig also still out there right now. Laffy coming up next at 11 a.m. MLB strategy show. Big MLB slate for a Friday. You got to love it. Eric and I will be back later tonight for Live Before Lock. Game 6. Celtics, Knicks. I know we're all excited. I cannot wait to watch it. The only thing that I can say at this point is go Celtics. I want to win my bets. Good luck, everybody. I'll see you probably Sunday morning or Sunday night. I just don't know which one, and it might just be both.